Hello everyone, this is Mayuk Mazumdar and I'm back with another exciting session. So let's proceed. In my last session, I introduced you all to the basic features of Flask and have introduced you the wonderful powers that Flask has. Now, this is a continuation of the same topic of discussion on Flask. The next topic that we have in hand is HTTP methods. Now, HTTP protocol, or HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is the foundation of data communication in World Wide Web. Different methods of data retrieval from specified URLs are defined in this protocol. Over here, you will get to see the following table that summarizes the different HTTP methods. The methods and the description. So we have the GET method, which sends data in encrypted form to the server, and it is the most widely accepted or most widely common method. The next we have is the head method, which is same as GET, but which it doesn't contain a response body. The next we have is the post method. It is used to send HTML form data to server. Data received by post method is not cached by server. Now the next method is the put method. It replaces all current representations of the target resource with the uploaded content. And finally, we have the delete method, which removes all current representation of the target resource given by a URL. By default, the Flask route responds to the GET requests. However, this preference can be altered by providing methods arguments to the route decorator. In order to demonstrate the use of a post method in URL routing, first let us create an HTML form and use the post method to send form data to a URL. Now we have the login the HTML form, which is named as login.html. It contains the following contents, which has a form action which sends action to the localhost 5000/login, and the method is post. It has two parameters. It has one input type, which is the name, and one submit button, which is used to submit. Now in my script, I'll be simply using this script to call, or basically over here, as you'll get to see that, just let me uncomment it. Okay, so you just now you saw that I have this login.html, which is the HTML component, and this script, with what it does, it has got two functions, two routes. One is success and one is login. This success accepts an variable that I say as discussed in my last session, and this method, this endpoint /login, it will we have two type of methods. One is post and one is get. Now if the method type is post, then what it does, it will accept the content, the parameter that will be sent, the argument that will be sent via the endpoint, and will redirect, as I said in my last example, will using the Flux redirect class, will redirect for the function success, that is over here, and this success accepts an argument, that is a name, which will be passed from here. So this user is is from the request body that the method will receive, and also if it is for the method type post, and if it's method type get, then also it will be parsing in this manner, and it will be calling the function the success. Let me run this script and you will get to know. So by running, I have let my server on, and my server is running on localhost 5000. Now to run this code snippet means after my development server starts running, now I will be opening this login.html in my browser. So for that, I'll be traversing to my folder location where this login.html resides. I'll just double click on it, so it will open up. So let me go back to my code snippet. In my login.html, you'll get to see that there is an input type, text name, there is one label or paragraph, the enter name, and it has got one input type, and finally one submit button. So the name is the args name, or maybe you'll know the value that it will receive. So over here, if I will type my name, and then click on the submit button. Now this form data is posted to the UL in action clause of the form tag. Now over here, the localhost 5000 / login is mapped to the login function that I have given here. Login function. Since the server has received data by the post method, then the value of the args name parameter over here, the parameter is args name, so the value of this parameter will be received. So now let me click on the submit method. When I click on the submit button, you will get to see that there is an output, welcome my Mazumdar. Now let me traverse back whatever happened. So in my HTML page, I have defined this input type, and the name of the variable is args name, or the argument name, and this is what I just given it a value. Now the form action will hit or will make a request, post request to the endpoint, that is localhost 5000 / login, which is running. So now whenever a new request comes to the /login endpoint, it checks what its type is. It post or is it get? If it's a post method, then what it does is it this accepts the value that is in the user variable. It accepts the args name that is I am sending, as in my case I've sent my name Mayut Mazumdar, and when I did so it is calling or redirecting, then calling the function success. Over here URL for is for this endpoint, this success, and it accepts the name that is the variable and is sending this user that I have just received as my argument from the UI or from the form application. So that variable is being passed to this route, and when it does so, what it does, its task is to return welcome / the value that it just received. So let me make another request as, so if I give the name as this and then I click on the submit button, you will get to see that the same process flows. From the UI, a new request is being made to the login route, and from there a new request is being made to my success route, and then it gets printed. Now if I change the method to get, if I change my method to get and then open and then I save it, and since my script is running in debug mode, so it will check all, it will accept all the changes. So let me make a new tab. Now let me just open my this function again. Now if I send my I'm now giving the value, and now if I make a request over here, so if I click on submit, it happens. But what's the change that you'll get to see? Till now all the method that you got to see over here is the post method whenever I was making a post request. But this time, the second time also I made a post request, but this time it's get request, and over here the method is get, and now this section of the code took place and it does the same process as defined by my code. Here args is dictionary object containing a list of pairs of the form parameters and its corresponding values. The value corresponding to the args name over here parameter is passed onto the /success URL as before, that was happening in the case of post request. So this is all about the HTTP methods, and you can not only leverage this post or get method, all the methods can be leveraged by using Flask. I just demoed you how this post and get method have been leveraged in this demo example. So let me stop my code snippet. Now the next one we have in hand is the Flask templates. Wow, it's a wonderful topic. Now Flask template is means it is possible to return the output of a function bound to a certain URL in the form of HTML. For instance, in this script over here, you'll get to see that if I run this script, now I've defined this route endpoint, that is just slash, and I've defined this function which will return an HTML content when I run. So if I make a request to my localhost 5000, if I do so, now if I make a request to my localhost 5000, you'll get to see that the hello world is being given as the output. So over here I am returning the HTML as a content when I make a request to my /route endpoint. However, generating HTML content from Python code is cumbersome, especially well variable data and Python language elements like conditionals or loops needs to be put. This would require frequent skipping from HTML. This is where one can take advantage of Jinja 2 template engine, on which Flask is based. Instead of returning hard-coded HTML from the function, a HTML file can be rendered by the render template function. That is where the Flask templates comes into the scenario. Sorry. Yeah. So now I'll show you the next example. Over here, what am I done? I have written a code snippet that just renders the template hello HTML. Now before going to folder structure and all, just I'll show you what's in there in the hello HTML. Yeah, so this hello HTML has the HTML content which will return in h1 the hello and the name variable name that will be passed to it. So over here I'll just make this call. Let me show you. I will just let me demo you what's there over here. Now over here you'll get to see that the hello has been printed. So what I've just did, I have just rendered the template hello HTML. I didn't pass any value or any argument to it, but I have just printed. Now since it didn't receive any variable, so it just printed hello from here. Now Flask will try to find the HTML file in the templates folder. This is one of the key concepts. If you need to get any HTML content, you have to specifically in your folder directory, in the current working directory, you have to define a folder named as /templates. In the folder named as templates, and in these templates you will have to put all your HTML content. So as you got to see that I have put my HTML file in this templates folder, and it's essential because Flask will be trying to look into the folder. So over here you'll get to see that Flask will try to find the HTML file in the templates folder in the same folder in which the script is present. So my script session9.py, or maybe you have some script as hello.py or hello world.py or anything as such. Now and then in the same location file structure you'll need to have the templates folder, and in the templates folder you will put all your HTML content. When you do so, Flask will get to save. But I have defined my application to do a specific purpose, that is will receive some variable and will return that in the UI. So for that I have defined this code snippet. Now the term web templating system refers to designing an HTML script in which the variable data can be inserted dynamically. A web template system comprises of a template engine, some kind of data sources, and a template processor. Flask uses Jinja 2 template engine, a web template containing HTML syntax, interspersed placeholders for variables and expressions, in this case Python expressions, which are replaced values when the template is rendered. Here in the following code snippet over here, the code snippet will be saved in my file, and in the same location there will be a template folder which will contain the HTML content. Now if I run this script, if I I've commented out. Yeah, now if I run this script, what will happen is that as the development server starts running, now when I open my browser and will call the hello endpoint, and suppose I am sending the name, it will accept some variable, as you know. So I'm sending the name the average student, and if I make a request, you'll get to see that the UI is render the hello average student as an output. Now this is because the value of this URL over here, the value of the variable over here is rendered to the hello.html, the hello.html, which accepts this name as an argument. Whenever I pass the value from the URL to this HTML, it will render it in the UI, and that is the scenario. I have given the endpoint hello and variable value of the variable as the average student, and it is rendering hello the average student. If I call it using the values ghost, so it will say hello ghost, hey ghost. So that's the scenario. Now the Ginger 2 template engine uses the following delimiters for skipping from HTML. Before that, let me comment out this section. Yeah. So over here, the Ginger 2 engine uses the following delimiters for escaping from HTML. This within parentheses percentage, then in between that is for statements. Now within braces, within parentheses, again another parenthesis for expressions to print the template output, as you got to see over here. Then within braces, hash, and then some statements, then hash, and then again braces. So for comments not included in the template output, these are for commenting but won't be included in the output, and hash for line statement. The next example that we have in is the use of a conditional statement in the template is demonstrated. The URL rule over here, let me uncomment my statement. Now the URL rule for this hello endpoint, for the hello function, accepts the integer parameter. It is passed to the hello HTML template. Inside it, the value of the number received marks is compared greater than or less than 50, and accordingly the HTML is rendered. And in my case, it's the marks.html. So in marks.html, I am passing the value that I have received from the endpoint, and I am making the following calls to see. Now let me just reset my server, and I will explain to you all the functionality that what happens. Over here, I am making a request to the hello endpoint, and I have passed a value as 60. Now, as I said over here, the value is stored in the variable score, and I am making the same render template request to the marks.html, and I am passing the value. Now over here, I told Ginger 2 template for statements. Over here, I am using this form, this delimiters. So over here, I'll see if marks is greater than 50. It's just a Python statement. It's just a Python statement, but I am running it on HTML. Now if marks is greater than 50, then my result is, your result is passed, else your result is failed, and if. So I'll just use this Ginger 2 templating to check whether my marks is greater than 50 or not. If my marks is greater than 50, you'll get to see that my result is passed. Now I have made a request with my marks as 60, and I passed. If I make a request with a result of 80, I passed. But suppose if I got 33, then see, sorry, my result is failed. So this is how the Ginger 2 templating have been used or leveraged to perform our required operations on the HTML. Now the next example. Let me uncomment first. Sorry. So note that the conditional statement if else and end if are enclosed in the delimiters, as I told you. Over here in the delimiters, the if statements and the end if, the conditional statements, they are enclosed. Once it's done, the template now what am I doing is I am using the template part of the this result.html. Let me show you the result.html. Now I am using the template part of the result.html to iterate over the values in a dictionary and printing it in the terminal or in my browser. So over here I've defined a dictionary with the key and the value, with the key physics and the values assigned is 50, with the key chemistry means k and the value is 60, and with the key maths the value is 70. I've defined a dictionary in that manner, and I'm passing this dictionary as my argument to the result.html. Now over here what I am doing, I'm using Ginger templating to iterate over all my values in the dictionary and printing them as table header, as a table content. So if I run this, already it has been, it is running in debug mode, so the changes have been saved. Now I will be making a request to the endpoint /result. So if I do so, you'll get to see that from this dictionary over here, using this Ginger templating and the result.html script, I have printed the result in a tabular format. So at many times will require, it may happen that from the backend after passing the data, it comes in a dictionary format and you have to render it in the front end. So you can easily do so by using Ginger templating. So here again, the Python statement corresponding to the for loop are enclosed in this percentage delimiters, whereas the expression key and the values are put inside this double parenthesis. After the development, when we make a request to the /result endpoint, we'll get to see the output. The next topic that we have in hand is the static files. A web application often requires a static file, such as a JavaScript file or a CSS file, supporting the display of a web page. Usually, the web server is configured to serve them for you, but during the development, these files are served from the static folder in your package or next to your module, and it will be available at /static on the application. So as I said, that for rendering the HTML, we must have a templates folder where we must put all the HTML contents. Similarly, to render static files, you must have a static folder, and within that you should have the static contents or the JS files or CSS files or whatever you do. These are some of the key features you won't find in any tutorials or in any website. But however, this is what you have to discover yourself. But I made it easy for you by letting you know that whenever you're working with Flask, that there are some folder structures that you need to maintain, such as this corresponding to this templates, statistics, and in the later section we will be introducing you to all. So as I said, that the special endpoint static is used to generate URL for static files. Now in this following function over here, let me uncomment first. You will get to see is that there is an endpoint / and in that route it is rendering the index.html. So where I will find in the templates folder. So this index.html, it will be rendered whenever a new call is being made to the localhost 5000 /endpoint. Now what it does is that it it accepts it's again what it's calling an URL for. From the static folder, it's calling the file name greetings.js. Let's see what's there. So whenever this greetings.js file is there, it has a function named as say hello, and it will alert hello the average student. Whenever I click on that now over here in the button section, whenever a new request whenever I click on the button say hello, now the value say hello will be displayed. So let me show you how it happens. Okay, so I'll just make a new have I run my server? Let me see. Yeah, now let me rerun my server, and after rerunning I'll make a request to my localhost 5000. When I'll do so, I'll get to see that over here the button pops up say hello, and when I click on say hello, it will show me hello the average student. And from where it's being done, it's being, since the greeting.js function has been called, and it says to alert hello the average student. So this is how we can use static files in Flask, and for that you must put your file in a folder named as /static. The next thing that we have is the request objects. The data from a client's web page is sent to the server as a global request object. In order to process the request data, it should be imported from the Flask module. Important attributes of request objects are listed below. One is form. It's a dictionary object containing key and value pair from the parameter and their values. Another is args, parsed contents of query string, which is part of the URL after the question mark. Cookies, that is the dictionary object holding cookie names and values. Files, data pertaining to uploaded file. And method, which contains the current request method. The next topic we have in hand is the sending form data to template. We have already seen that the HTTP method can be specified in a URL rule. The form data received by the triggered function can collect it in the form of a dictionary object and forward it to a template to render it on a corresponding web page. In this following example, over here, let me first uncomment it out for you all. Yeah. So in this following example, I have the endpoint /URL, which renders a web page, the student.html. So whenever I make a request to localhost 5000 and /, it will render the student.html. Now, once the data will be filled in, it is posted to the endpoint /result, and which triggers the result function. Now, just let me go part by part. Over here, I have my script, and I have defined two methods, student and result, one endpoint / and one endpoint /result. Whenever I make a call to localhost 5000 /, it will render me the student.html, and I know that I have to find it in the templates folder to see. So as I see that it has a form action which will make a call to the /result endpoint, and the type will be method post, and it has got some input types, and once I click on the button type submit, then the form and request to this endpoint will take place. Now once the result is being called, if the request method is post, then it will accept the value by using request.form. It will accept all the values, and then it will render render template. That means it will again call another evaluation.html, and it will pass the value, this result, the JSON that it receives. Now over here in the evaluation, it will iterate using Ginger2 templating. We are iterating over all the elements of the JSON, and we are printing in the key value format. Let's see what happens. Now let me run this script. When I run, I have to now make a call to my localhost 5000. When I do so, I'll get the student.html over here. The student.html form will be rendered. Now over here, I'll put in the required values, just a dummy ones. Now if I click on submit, what will happen, that a new request to the /result endpoint happens. A new call is being made to /result. What it does, it renders the evaluation.html, and in the evaluation.html, all the values that it receives as a request content, as a request object. So it will be printed in a table, row and table header format. The key values will be printed. So this is how you can send form data to templates. So in today's discussion, what we have gone through the various HTTP methods. We have learned how templates work in Flask, or how Flask templates can be used, and the potential features of it that we have explored in all this example. We have then learned how to use static files in Python, and for that we must have the static folder where the contents will be fetched from, and for storing the HTML contents we have this template folder. Then we saw the various type of request objects and how to leverage those request objects to accept values from the front end. And using that, I have made another request to this evaluation HTML, where all the key values are being printed. So this was all about today's session. We will be leveraging more features or more wonders of Flask in the following sessions. Thank you. Have a great day.